and welcome to Infinite Adventures Podcas. Take one. Oh my god, yes. That is such a big point.
Because this guy here, I don't know what I'm pointing, Luca.
It's a podcast, not a video. And we're going to talk today about theme parks, I guess. Let's go get some pancakes. You kind of wobble and bash your head around.
Yeah, here we go.
It just is the best. The views and opinions of the host are strictly of their own and may not be 100% correct. Occasionally, strong language may be used. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Infinite Adventures Podcast, episode number 6.
Yeah, episode 6. We're getting there now.
We're getting quite far on. Last episode we talked about Blackpool, so
that was our nice trip over the weekend for opening weekends.
That's done and dusted, and we'll forget about that. Try not to speak about that as much in this one. We got a few topics to talk about today. I think we should start off with talking about RMC Gwazi because they took a fuckload of track down. Yeah, so
originally everyone thought, oh yeah, it might be two-sided, it might work out like that, but they've ripped out basically half.
Yeah, so starting off, if you know what Gwazi is, it was a dueling GCI Woody, quite an old one that opened in like 1999, I think.
Yeah, then it got replaced with new trains.
Yeah, so it's quite old anyway for a wooden coaster that's a company that now makes some of like the smoothest wooden coasters ever. Yeah, it was quite bad.
It was quite an old one. It was
and
their
it was
old
two
track
separate
design.
coasters. It wasn't like a Mobius.
Yeah, it was a dueling, so you raced each other. Then due to budget reasons and maintenance, it became single.
Yeah,
they shut one side down.
And now it's been shut since 2015.
Around it may potentially
yeah,
quite a while.
So it's been one side was open in 2014 when I went, and then 2015 it was closed. So
the track
early 2015, and it's just sat there. Yeah, they use it for Howler Scream for one of their mazes. One of their mazes for 2-3 years, I think.
Yeah, sort of like they used the queue line
Unearthed,
and then
Scarlet's Revenge. It was called when I was there.
They
I think it's just called
queue.
Unearthed now. It started like you queued up in the exit and you started the maze in the station and kind of went down the queue line.
Yeah,
and then until under the ride and stuff. It wasn't like using the whole ride; it just used the station.
And then they used the back end of the ride when they did their Christmas markets and things like that.
Yeah, so that's in Gwazi Park or whatever they call it, which is like behind it.
Which the service robot's now shut off.
Yeah, so that's cool. It used to be an old like I said, an old dueling wooden coaster, and we had Colossus at Magic Mountain, which was a wooden dueling coaster, which got turned into a Mobius coaster.
Yeah, so that was both sides.
You kind of do one side, end that, and go up another lift and do the other side. Whereas
this is
the rumours for this is that
it's one big ass coaster.
They completely remove the whole the whole racing aspect and use the whole layout as one ride instead of two.
One of the old lift hills, or both, are going to become. Well, I think one's going to become the actual lift.
It says hills.
Yeah.
So the European Coaster Club said in their magazine, which is called First Drop, I think, that the old lift hills will become normal hills. They didn't specify airtime. They just said normal hills.
So that could be one of their half inversion, high five where you're on your side,
a wave turn,
anything,
a stool, and then they also said the dueling aspect will be removed, so it'll become one full layout.
And then more importantly, they said it could be taller than Steel Vengeance.
They said that they were going to build a completely new lift.
Yeah, so
and
steeper,
it would be a steel lift, so it would look similar to something like Goliath at Great America?
With the truss structure, yeah.
Yeah, so the big steel structure. A bit like Wildfire.
Yeah,
Wildfire's got a steel lift, and Zardra's going to have a steel lift.
Just because of how steep it is and how much weight it takes.
So you got a big steel lift. They said 212 foot and 91 degree drop, so a beyond vertical drop by
steepest,
1 degree.
Yeah, so it's going to be taller than Steel Vengeance.
So potentially the tallest, fastest and steepest hybrid coaster
in the world.
Which is pretty crazy if you compare like what the coaster was before. Like I think their actual lift hills were only over just over 100 foot.
Yeah.
113 foot or something stupid like that.
It'll be
the Mean Streak lift was at least 160 foot, so they didn't have to add a lot for Steel Vengeance, but this is ridiculous.
I don't think much of Gwazi's going to remain.
There'll be a lot of upbuilding, yeah. We saw images from Bio Reconstruct on Twitter that a lot of one side, I think it's I can't point out which. I think it's the Taiga side, the blue one. A lot of it's already been ripped down. So like half the lift hill's gone.
And the dips by the station.
Yeah, and I saw an image on Twitter last night that the like flyby bits where they kind of go in opposite directions.
They're gone.
The track's completely gone. The support still remains, but the track's not there anymore.
But around the back where it dies off, close to the brake runs, they've actually ripped out all the supports as well.
Yeah, and there's a bit, if you look at one of the images, that it shows like it looks like it could be a brake run.
Potentially, yeah. There's
the left-hand side coaster, the one that's the load station's the left-hand side one. Like next to that, there's like structure that's been left up that kind of looks level, which looks like it could be a brake run.
I think with the
that's cool.
With the length of the coaster, I think there will be a mid-course brake run, and I think there is a potential for a load and an unload as well, as opposed to just one loading offloading.
Yeah, it depends how many trains they want to run, and it depends how long the actual circuit is.
Well, let's just hope they test the control system.
Well, I mean, I think RMC have learned from their mistakes. They had they're potentially the two best coasters, and they've both had issues. They've had Steel Vengeance had a lot of issues, and he had Lightning Rod, which is one of their best, which constantly and is still having issues. So I think this time they'll have learned. And
they are a new company.
They're constantly developing. So
at one point they were buying their trains off Gersler to put on the tracks.
And then themselves have made two different variations of train already.
With different front chassis sizes,
the company's only been around making coasters since 2011.
I was going to say 2011, when they did the conversions.
New Texas Giant. I mean, they've been around for a lot longer doing like rock work, and they helped build the wooden coasters that Intamin make.
Yeah.
So I know they did some track work on a ride at Silverwood, and they helped with El Toro's track production.
And one of the designers, I think, is it Alan? He used to work at
SNS
and Arrow.
Yeah.
Back in the day, so he was Arrow, then SNS.
So
he did
old
X2.
School.
He did like X2.
He's got a lot of experience under his belt.
But he's got a lot of experience with testing prototypes and things like that as well. So
he knows the risks. The issues. Yeah.
But if this pulls off, an area which has been shut off for 5 years by the time it opens.
Well, I mean, after Mean Streak, Gwazi was the second most talked about wooden coaster that should be RMC'd anyway.
Yeah.
So at least we're getting an RMC worthy of an RMC. It's not like Six Flags where they go, we've got a wooden coaster, we're going to RMC it.
No, it's a one that deserves it. It's been sat there. It needs the attention.
I mean, even when it was running, it was basically crying out to be RMC. Let's be honest.
The only other thing they could have done is got GCI and to completely retrack it. It's sort of like.
I don't think they would have retracked it, or I don't think they would have redeveloped it completely.
Yeah,
to have inversions and more actual airtime hills, because the ride wasn't like a normal wooden coaster is. Like a modern coaster is focused on airtime. This was just a wooden coaster,
and it's the racing aspect.
Yeah,
people liked.
It's more focused on racing than a normal GCI is with airtime, and you have modern GCI races like Joris and Drak at Efteling,
which are crazy,
which are two dueling coasters which focus on the racing, but they also have crazy airtime moments and weird bank turns.
Yeah, I think
a normal GCI.
I think there must have been lots of decisions like, do we knock it down, do we convert it? It's sort of like, I appreciate when you look at Colossus at Hyder Park. I rode that in 2014. I really enjoyed it. It was getting rough, but that was a coaster where it just needed the retrack. It would have been silly. It's such a good coaster.
Well, I mean, they did consider to RMC it, and they can like something like Wicker Man where they considered building a hybrid instead of a true wooden coaster. So at least companies are there looking into it.
They're taking the option and saying what's best per coaster instead of saying this is the cheapest. Yeah.
Yeah, but also like, the coaster fanboys will go mad for an RMC. We'll build one, and the public going, what the fuck's that?
Yeah.
Then rather. This coaster is like, alright, you've got other wooden coasters in the area now, so you've got White Lightning, you've got Mind Blower, so you can afford to go, we'll RMC this, and then it opens up the fact that they can
build a modern GCI in the site.
You know that Busch Gardens as a company have worked with GCI because they did Invader.
Yeah.
So
then you can make it more of a family one because you've got the thrilling RMC.
Yeah. So you can work with GCI and make a new coaster, and I think, judging by those leaked slideshow things, that one of the SeaWorld parks is getting a wooden coaster. Well, potentially
family wooden coaster. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it said family wooden coaster, but it did say like fastest wooden coaster in Texas or something.
It's like Family Thrill, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
that
you kind of see that
if you're looking at speed, that's going to be a GCI.
Yeah, you kind of see that SeaWorld as a company or Busch Gardens as a company are looking into working with wooden coaster companies.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if after we got RMC Gwazi, we did get a modern wooden coaster somewhere in the park.
They've got the space.
They've got loads of space.
But they've been working with lots of different companies. Like they did Mac for Cobra's Curse. They've sort of varied it up a bit instead of
just buying B&M, which they used to do.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I think it's going to be good that we're getting a RMC at Busch Gardens Park because it is mainstream. It's is it going to be the first one in Florida as well?
Yeah.
So
I think the closest one is in Georgia.
Yeah. So I think Busch Gardens have definitely set themselves and said we're going to be the thrill park now.
Yeah, and you can clearly see that because the other parks like SeaWorld have thrill rides, but that's more about the experience. Whereas Busch Gardens, you have a bit of both. It's like a Busch Gardens Tampa is like a combination of all the UK parks.
Yeah,
'cause it's got like the animal exhibits of like Chessington with the high thrill rides of Fort Barker and Alton Towers with the space of Alton Towers.
Yeah.
So you kind of got the best of both worlds in that kind of park.
I guess you could call it the themed like Cedar Fair of Florida. It's like that's what they're looking at.
Yeah, so it's got the biggest thrill rides in Florida.
But we're also going to theme them.
Yeah, well, some of them. Rides like
yeah.
Kumba and Shikra have like no theming. They're just landscaped really nicely.
Yeah,
so like the area around them looks nice.
The drop tower doesn't have much either. It's just like it's got nice
but they themed the whole area, which was cool.
Yeah.
Pantopia is sick.
I think SeaWorld's made the decision as a group to say we need to invest more in the rides than the animals because of all the stuff they've had, especially at the SeaWorld parks.
Yeah, and it's working a lot better. Like this year you've got Sesame Street, and then you've got potentially a family launch coaster next year. So if you look at it this way, within the last 4 years, they've built a hyper coaster, a family thrill rapids ride, a kids area, and then a coaster for everyone.
Yeah, it's building that for everyone to ride.
Yeah, so you've got. I'd class them all as large scale additions. To be fair, you haven't got kind of like off addition.
No,
because you've gone from Mako. Then Infinity Falls, which is both of them are still a lot of money.
It's a rapids in Florida. It works, and it's
and
a very high
Street,
tech.
They haven't just rethemed old buildings. They've knocked everything down and rebuilt stuff.
What other park has a Sesame Street? Is it Busch Gardens Williamsburg?
I mean, Tampa has an area as well, but it's not a Sesame Street like thing. I think it's just a playhouse and a little ride.
Whereas Williamsburg's got the area.
Yeah.
With another small coaster.
Yeah. So.
It will work.
And it's not too similar to what Tampa have.
No, it's sort of like keeping it, and because also Busch Gardens Tampa is in Tampa and SeaWorld's right next to Universal.
I mean, they're only an hour apart anyway, but yeah, I get what you mean.
SeaWorld's affected by the clientele of Universal more.
Yeah.
Because of its distance.
Yeah, so you've also, it's not saying like, come in, we've got animal exhibits for your kids and then thrill rides for your family. At least you've got stuff for kids to do. Yeah,
and I think everyone's excited for Gwazi. It is the one thing that's gonna.
Yeah,
it's making my decision. I'm going next year, so I'll be there. I'll wait till Gwazi. My mate wants to go in like April. I said, no, we've got to wait. And no, I said I can't go there and just look at an RMC, just sat there.
Yeah,
knowing that it will open in a few weeks or something. It would devastate me.
And Busch Gardens is weird because it's the only park I've seen do two big coasters in 2 years. Like this year, you've got Tigress, which is still. What for a normal park? That's a major investment, really.
Like if you look at like the parks in.
If you were to add that to any park in England, that's a major addition.
Or even Six Flags, that would be
that's a major addition.
Yeah,
and they're using it as a smaller addition for a bigger project to come. Like that's crazy.
And even when they do the construction updates, they said, "Oh, I do love a good renovation." Yeah, it's like the references.
They hinted at RMC Gwazi so much, and we've seen construction workers that are working on Gwazi in RMC gear
and the patents.
And like the like planning applications and stuff come out with Rocky Mountain Construction on it.
I think it'll be September time before we see any marketing for it. It was sort of like they need to let Tigress open, settle in, and then because then they've got their marketing for their Halloween event. Yeah, but it's weird. As well.
You can't market Gwazi that well because there's only one area where it sits like. Guest facing, which is where the old entrance used to be, and the station is. Yeah. Other than that, there isn't anywhere you can put banners because it kind of sits in the middle of the park.
I suppose if you put it on like the car park by the main road, so when people driving past.
But it's not like you can advertise it as well as Tigress because Tigress has a big construction perimeter
with a whole wall theme to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got from where like the Stanley log flume is, all the way down to the splashdown of Sheikra. That's a huge perimeter that you've put banners up on.
Yeah, because they built it on like the drop of the old.
But it extends all the way down like to where the old like queue line and load station is for tidal wave.
Yeah. So
you've got a huge area where you can mark it and be like, we've got a new coaster coming here. And it's not something you can miss. It's massive and it's bright colours. Whereas it's another ride that will sit nicely on their skyline.
I think the issue is a lot of people, the general public, will be like, walking by, oh, they're reopening Gwazi next year. Sort of like just seeing some work done to it.
Yeah, until they start marketing it.
Yeah,
it's until you see a ride rendering and whatnot.
You'll see them taking things apart. Oh, they're just demolishing it. Or
So it's smart for them because the general public will just see work on it like, oh, it's coming down.
It's done.
So, and then Taiga also takes away people's interest.
Yeah.
So you haven't got people crowding around Gwazi going, look at that, they're taking bits of wood off. Whereas they're more interested in riding the new coaster.
Yeah, I think it's good that they're going, or from the rumours, going through with Gwazi, because they could have easily made it more of a family RMC.
No, I wouldn't say family RMC because there isn't a family RMC. They're all intense.
You know what I mean? Like
but
less for it.
Yeah, going like the Twisted Cyclone route where it's not batshit insane.
Yeah.
With like you've got a couple of inversions and a wave turn, not as many airtime hills.
Or the one at Kentucky Kingdom that's just...
I mean, that's still got stupid, crazy airtime hills from what I've heard.
But they designed it towards more families. They didn't put an inversion in it, sort of thing.
Well, they did.
Did they? Is it?
What?
Which one am I thinking of?
I don't know what you're thinking of, mate. That one has a barrel roll drop, a corkscrew.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the wrong... Sorry, my bad. Yeah. There's too many RMC conversions now that I'm just getting...
They've all got inversions besides the lightning rod, I think. All of them have inversions of some sort.
But even lightning rod with a launch, that's like full on thrill.
Yeah, I mean, you've got something like Wicked Cyclone where it's small, low to the ground, and Twisted Cyclone. That's
the names as well. They just get so.
Well, Wicked Cyclone's the orange one, and Twisted Cyclone's the blue one. But they're not your kind of Steel Vengeance out of this world ridiculous coaster.
No,
and they're not like kids will not like airtime like rip you from your seat. RMC airtime hills, and Twisted Cyclone doesn't really have that. It's got a drop. It's got that weird like twist, like corkscrew cobra roll. Yeah. It's got the wave turn, but it doesn't have like mad airtime hills. It's got like 3 inversions, a huge wave turn, and a couple of bunny hops, but nothing like Steel Vengeance airtime hills.
Yeah, that's
So you kind of got it all right there. It's not like at least they're going with thrill, and Tigress is family thrill as well because you can have your families ride it.
Yeah, because it's got the vest, so it's got a lower height restriction, hasn't it?
Yeah, but it's not a crazy launch coaster. It's not like your Cheetah Hunt on steroids kind of thing. No. It's still a family launch coaster.
But at the moment, the SeaWorld group seem to love their launch coasters as well.
Yeah, I mean these things are easy for them to buy and put up. Yeah, they're like what? 20 track pieces or something like that.
It's clone. SeaWorld's got one. The other Busch Gardens has got one.
Exactly. So
you buy them,
they've all. If you look at it this way, they've all been filler for some sort of coaster.
Yeah.
Give or take with Williamsburg because it's taken them a bit longer to develop their coaster, but
we'll get onto that.
We'll get onto that in a bit. This one's opening 1 year before their big coaster. SeaWorld, San Diego. The one that has Electric Eel
is now because that's their maximum height, and then
but they've opened that as a pre-coaster to their dive coaster. Yeah. So you see this as like a small investment before a big investment.
It just annoys me that they don't go. So the smaller parks, they got a switch track, that monster one, to increase capacity, and they never need to use it because they're quiet. Whereas the SeaWorld parks and Busch Gardens that could really do with the 2 stations.
Yeah.
I mean, you can shut one off and not load for it if you need to, but it could do with the 2 stations.
But then again, it also has the extra car, so it kind of makes up for it there.
Yeah,
because the smaller ones have 2 cars,
whereas this one's got 3.
Yeah, Tigress, Electric Eel, and Tempesto all have 3 cars.
So I suppose minimum running costs with more capacity. Yeah.
So you've still got more capacity than your standard one, but you don't have to spend money on maintenance of building 2 switch tracks
and 2 cars, 2 trains. Sorry.
Yeah. So you've got a 3-car train. So
I
it's
suppose
not
when you
too
look at
bad
it that
for them.
way, but again, because it's just a filler, it's sort of towards the back of the park.
Yeah, it's once Gwazi opens, this is going to have a really declined ridership.
Gwazi and Taiga are going to spread out the capacity quite nicely around Busch Gardens.
Yeah, well, if you look at it, they've kind of gone, where do we have a coaster that's kind of not neglected, but like low ridership?
Yeah.
You've kind of, when you built Cheetah Hunt, not many people went to Montu. Because Cheetah Hunt's the more like, it's new, it's different to
so
what
they
we've
put
got.
Cobra's Curse
Yeah,
over by Monty.
Drags people that way, and then you kind of link the pathway from Cobra's Curse round, so you can still access Cheetah Hunt and go towards Kumba.
Yes.
I think the next area after this will be near Kumba, because you've got something like Shikra and Tidal Wave. Shikra, when I've been, has never got a queue. I've walked onto Shikra every
and
single
Kumba
time
seem
I've
to
been
be
on
quite low.
I mean,
queues.
Shikra, yeah, it scares people, but I've never seen it have a queue.
No.
Kumba still gets a queue because it's still a really, really good ride. Shikra's still good, but it's got low ridership. People just kind of walk past it on their way to Kumba.
Well, Kumba's definitely staying for a lot longer because they're painting it and everything, aren't they?
Well, yeah, and I don't think they'll ever get rid of that. It's a classic, and it's iconic.
It opened, that's what they wanted for the park. So they're planning quite well into the future, and that's what I like about parks where they say this is what we can do. Moving on, this is what we can do.
Yeah, and they have their idea of how it's like park renovation going around in a circle.
Yeah,
it's kind of like what Alton Towers do with their TLC. They kind of go round each attraction and make it look nicer.
And their secret weapons, which area are we working on next?
Yeah, and then it also brings people to an older coaster.
Yeah.
Which works perfectly because you did Galactica and people came to Nemesis.
Yeah, it works.
It works well.
So speaking of I think you mentioned something that we should go on to next with Busch Gardens. Same topic.
Sticking with the same parent company.
Yeah, the SeaWorld group.
Busch Gardens recently, it was leaked by BGWfans.com.
Yeah, online.
Which is the overhead plan of the layout of their supposed triple launch coaster.
Which is meant to be...
quad launch coaster, sorry. It's got 4 launches.
4 launches, yeah. It's meant to be similar to the one in...
Yeah, so if you've seen the Park Asterix animation...
That's the park,
It's very similar to that in terms of it has one launch, does a couple of elements, and then enters a high-speed switch track where it launches
back.
One forward, one back, and then forward again.
So, yeah.
In that space that the switch track switches across.
And this one's in the Roman Fiesta area, isn't it?
So it's named as Project Madrid.
Yeah.
But it falls near to the Italy area, so it's kind of like Italy, Spain.
Yeah. It's the entrance will be near like their Teacups ride and near Tempesto.
Yeah, so it kind of falls in with like the Italy area, but it's going to be Spanish.
Yeah.
But not too. So it's not going to be like you're entering a new area because it's just a new plaza kind of area with a few new buildings.
I'd say if you look at Wickerman, sort of like it's part like next to Mutiny Bay, it's got its own plaza out the front.
Yeah.
But it is separate.
Yeah, it's a separate technical area. Like Madrid's not in Italy, so you wouldn't go, we're going to Italy to ride a Spanish coaster.
Yeah.
Like it's still its own area, but not like its own new section of the park.
Well, at the moment it's only got the one entrance from the plans, and I think they'll need to connect it elsewhere.
Yeah, but they'll think long term for it, and they actually have. They're not like Tampa where they open 365.
No, they
have a closed season, so they can work on that stuff.
Yeah.
So you've got basically what happened is earlier in I think last year we kind of saw plans for the footers that would go on the Rhine River.
Yeah, so
which is their river that runs through the middle of the park.
It's this big field space there that, like we've always said, that could be a coaster.
Yeah, but earlier in the year we saw the footer plans for the footers that are going in the lake
because they had to put that
on
in
the Rhine River.
Yeah.
And now we've now seen how big of a coaster it actually is. Like it's a short layout but takes up a lot of space kind of thing. So I think it will be very similar to something like Soaring with Dragon, where it's just going insanely fast.
Yeah, and it's going to look...
From the leak slides, it did say fastest coaster in Busch Gardens.
Yeah, fastest. So this will be their third launch coaster.
Yeah.
After the Bolton, which is the family one, of course, Tempesto. So it's going faster than Tempesto.
Yeah, Tempesto goes max at 65.
I think we're looking at 70, 75, yeah. But it's going to look really cool because one side, if you go on the boat ride, one side of the Rhine River is going to have the Bolton dropping down over the river, and this is going to come high speed on the other side of the river.
A bit further up, you've got Loch Ness Monster, which is over the river as well. So
they're using it quite well.
They're really nice landscapes.
I think they've got to be very careful with the colour scheme they choose for it.
I think it'll be different because the rest of their coasters are like whites and blues and
you've got yellows.
Monster. They don't have a red coaster besides when they ripped out Big Bad Wolf.
I suppose, yeah, because
So it could be red. It could be yellow.
What's Tempesto? Is that
blue and orange?
Yeah, and
Alpengeist is white. Griffin's white.
Orange. Purple. And they got a blue. Yeah.
Yeah. So red or yellow is very different.
Yellow, they got Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, but
you mean like a brighter?
So like a red and yellow colour scheme instead of Loch Ness Monster's yellow and black.
Which could work with the Madrid theme as well, actually.
Yeah, if you look at Spanish culture,
red and yellow.
You've got a lot of reds, a lot of yellows.
Yeah, I think it's going to look very pretty. I think the plans. Do we know if they've been like approved? Do we know if anything like that, or is it just a matter of they've been
no
leaked?
idea. I just see that the overhead like layout plan was leaked, and it's just based on the footers as well.
Yeah,
like this is the footer plan that's been drawn up.
But if you look at something like Taron, the footers mean nothing. You can have supports going mental. We're assuming this is an Intamin, by the way. This is just the assumption.
Well, I mean, yeah, they did kind of say like this. It could be a Gerstlauer, if you're honest with it. But Intamin are the ones that are developing the high speed switch tracks, so that kind of leads towards it. You've got Storm of Dragon, the Harry Potter coaster has a high speed switch track. Park Asterix is going to have one,
especially with the spike as well. It does suggest
it's a very Intamin thing.
And the SeaWorld group have been working with Intamin, even with Infinity Falls, Cheetah Hunt. There's quite a good relationship between them. Yeah,
so I would lean like 95% towards it being Intamin. I don't see it being Gerstlauer. I don't see it being Premier.
And it's not going to be Mac because they don't do sort of spikes or anything like that.
Well, they've done spikes on.
Of course they have. Yeah.
Capital Bullet Train and Star Trek, but no high speed switch track. They don't use switch tracks. They use transfer tracks.
It's like a transfer onto the track.
It's a switch track, like slides across,
and then it'll switch before you start your launch. It's like the start of the ride. Yeah.
So it's not like halfway through the ride kind of thing. So it's a very Intamin thing to do.
I'll fully look forward to it. I think the terrain at Busch Gardens is perfect as well.
Yeah, it's a very well landscaped park, and it's very looked after. You haven't got areas which are just kind of looking run down and not looked after.
Well, at one point everyone thought it was going to go an island because there's plans for a new ride there, and that just became the SNS, didn't it?
Yeah,
the Spring Swing. Which again, that's over the other side of the park. So they're building a new flat ride now.
Yeah.
For 2019, ready for 2020 coaster, are we assuming, or do you reckon it'll be more likely?
It's Project 2020 anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised if it does end up being 2020. Yeah. And it's not a long layout, so I wouldn't. And it's not going to take that long to build.
Intamin's going quick as well these days as well. They're quite quick builds.
Yeah. They've put up coasters very quickly.
Yeah, so it looks like it could be a good ride. I reckon we'll get an animation by the end of the year or something when they want to actually announce it.
It depends, yeah. I think you'll get a summer... Well, Americans are weird because they have this kind of roller coaster day that they like to announce stuff. That's the day that you kind of get your Six Flags video.
You see the fair.
And then you get your separate See the Fair.
And that's towards the end of August, isn't it? Because we watched the Copperhead Strike one from Phantasialand.
I think Copperhead Strike was announced later, wasn't it? Or was it? No, that was that day.
Yeah, because it was in August.
Because we got the Six Flags announcements the same day.
Yeah.
We had the crazy Six Flags video, which I look forward to every year.
Him on a bike, or him surfing, or
Jim Reed Anderson.
Hi there.
So you never know. You could get an announcement in August this year because that's the kind of day that they like to announce stuff. But SeaWorld are weird because their plans tend to come out a lot earlier than they get announced.
Well,
so look at this. Look at the dive coaster.
We never got any plans for that, really, did we?
Well, the plans are out, but there's been no announcement. Like the park haven't been like we're going to build a dive coaster.
No, we got one concept.
Yeah, so we had the leaked presentation.
Yeah.
And then obviously the plans when they put an application, but there's been no confirmation from the park. I don't think.
No, nothing. I don't think we got the one picture that showed the white track or whatever the drop on.
Yeah, but that was from the presentation. That wasn't the park going, we're building a dive coaster, because they're still marketing Tidal Twister, which opens for this year.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So.
But Busch Gardens, I think, are on a good track. Both parks, they're building.
Yeah, all the parks owned by SeaWorld Entertainment are on the rise. You look at all their parks have got additions of some sort, like Oscar's Wacky Taxi, Sesame Place. I think I overheard somewhere where they're going along the lines of we want something new at all of our parks every year, kind of the Six Flags thing, but not cheaping out like Six Flags do.
Well, at one point they were going to sell off the Busch Gardens Park, so they weren't doing well enough. But again, that's because they didn't put the investment in. You need that. You need that investment.
Yeah.
So if they're going to go down that route, that's great, as long as they still keep them themed.
Yeah.
Because some of those parks are beautiful, and you just wouldn't want it ruined.
I mean, Busch Gardens Tampa. I remember when I went in 2010, it wasn't the nicest park. Like, it was the kind of chavvy clientele of Orlando, and they've turned it around massively. Like, the second time I visited Busch Gardens in 2014, it was like my favourite park, straight up.
Just because of their change of target market, things like that.
Their
audience.
They looked after the park a lot better. No hate on Busch Gardens, but 2010 when I went, like, the toilets weren't the nicest of toilets.
Right, okay, yeah.
There were chavs smoking around the park, whereas now there's designated smoking areas.
So it's just making it more of a pleasant overall experience.
Yeah. So now, like, anyone can go there and enjoy it. And ever since my 2014 to 2015, it went up even more. Like, Pantopia was introduced 2014, but Falcon's Fury wasn't open when I went.
Right, okay.
It was delayed. But from the 2014 to 15 that I went, Pantopia increased, like, its improvement. It looked nicer, and it was technically already open when I went in 2014, so it was nice. So they spent a lot of money and effort on keeping the park looking nice.
They were looking at redoing their Wild Mouse at once as well, like making it an indoor coaster, like boxing it in. There are strong rumours about that, but it never happened. But again, it's just as long as they keep updating and maintaining.
They keep. Well, I mean, look, they've got a Schwarzkopf coaster, which is still there.
With the
most parks kind of kill them off because they're a maintenance nightmare. But if you look after it, it's not a maintenance nightmare.
I mean, look at Olympia; it's travelling and it's still constantly going.
Yeah. So they look after. They spend a lot of money on looking after stuff, and then rides like Cheetah Hunt are still very well looked after, and their older coasters like Montu and Combat are still smooth as ever. So, I mean, if you look at it this way, look at something like Nemesis, how rough it is now and how jerky it is, compared to something like Montu, which is still butter smooth. Yeah,
you gotta. I mean, the track, of course, wears. The wheels wear, things like that. There's a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, different climates and everything. But essentially, it's down to your maintenance, and they've spent a lot of money on maintenance. They constantly switch out their trains, so they've spent money on having free trains.
I was going to say, doesn't Cheetah Hunt have like?
Cheetah Hunt has ridiculous, like 6-7 trains.
Just
it runs 5 at a time.
Yeah,
and they still have more than that anyway.
So that's the other thing I was going to ask. Like this Williamsburg plan, because the track now is not that long.
Yeah,
it looks like it will only be a free train coaster.
It has. I'd say it would run 2, but you could run 3.
I think they'll try for free. If you had a load and an unload and the brake runs.
Soaring with Dragon has free.
Does it? Okay.
And it never runs free. Every video and every person that I've spoke to or messaged says it's ever been on 2. So
it depends on the capacity of what they need.
Yeah.
Because if you think you dispatch one, let's say you had a load and unload, they could all stack up on the end like Taron. Dispatch one, that goes through the first launch. Then as soon as that's cleared, hit the second launch, that bit.
Yeah.
You can get ready to send out your next train.
Yeah.
And then
But your second half is longer than your first half, so it's kind of like Helix. It's like the reverse of Helix.
Yeah.
Where between your 2 launches is the longest part of the ride.
So you'd need to...
After your second launch is very long, but your first to second launch is not long at all.
But that's where the backwards forwards works, because that will be going.
Yeah, but that increases the ride length of the second half. So you can't just send one after it clears the the second launch, because it would technically be in the second block. So it's kind of thing like you're gonna have to have like something like Helix does with a dispatch timer.
Yeah.
Or you're kind of gonna have to wait till it hits the brake run before sending it out, and you're constantly stacked anyway.
There'll either be a set time or, like you say, timers.
Yeah.
Because like Taron, they can dispatch that and it'll just wait on the first if they need to.
Yeah.
So it's just that balance, and I think throughputs are especially important at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I know they're efficient. I know they run the parks very well. I've seen videos online.
Yeah.
But if this is in its own enclosed area, like the plans say,
I'd say 2 trains is enough for it anyway. Because if it's going to be that fast, you're completing circuits in rapid time.
Yeah.
So
depends how long the train. Maybe we'll get longer trains from Inspin.
Well, I mean, yeah, Soaring with Dragon trains are still quite long. They're, I think, 6 cars long.
Yeah, whereas some are only 4 car long.
Yeah,
so
like the modern Blitz coaster that's got like the small rapid transitions are 4 car long.
So if this is a longer car length than 2, maybe let's say they do 6 or 7.
6 car, yeah.
Then it should be all right.
I mean, Soaring with Dragon doesn't have the stupidly crazy intense rapid transitions of Maverick, Taron.
No.
So you can have the longer train, and it also means the launch track doesn't have to be as long.
Yeah.
Because the train's longer anyway.
But then you look at some Macs as well, it's the same thing. Like Icon's only got 4 cars, whereas others have 5 cars.
It doesn't need more because it's more compact kind of thing. Like if you had 5 cars on it, it might deteriorate from the ride experience.
But because this is a bigger layout, it's definitely going to need...
This main focus is speed, let's be honest.
Yeah. So hopefully it's longer cars just to keep capacity up.
And it's gonna, if it's going that fast, it'll be a good like
back row ride
experience. Well, yeah, it'll be a good, like Intamins. The newer Intamins are kind of good in every seat, so it's kind of like you're gonna feel the speed wherever you sit.
Yeah,
you're gonna sit in the middle and you're still gonna feel like you're going ridiculous.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna be a good addition. We know that, and I think it's gonna be good for the park, especially since their last modern coaster was it Tempesto?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a little bit longer.
And then before that was Invader. So
yeah, it's been. Oh
it's
yeah,
been a long time since you've had a high thrill coaster.
Yeah, I forgot about Invader at that park.
Yeah.
Because it just weaves in a bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of Intamins, there's one you're looking forward to, isn't it?
Well, so yeah, this year we've got Taiga, which opens at Linnanmaki in Finland. There's not really a lot known about this coaster besides it's a Blitz coaster
on the hillside. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a top speed of around 65 miles an hour.
Is it?
Other than that,
is it 1 launch or 2?
2.
2 long. Okay.
But other than that, we haven't got a track length. We haven't got an amount of, well, I mean, we do have an inversion count because we've got a layout. But
yeah, you can sort of, it's from the photos, you just got to work it out.
No, but we've got a layout video POV.
Yeah.
But it's done so that you can't actually tell how fast these transitions are going to be taking place.
It's been edited.
A bit like the early Helix one where it kind of like sped up and slowed down, not in line with how the ride actually is. So this looks cool. Like I said, we don't have a lot of details on it, but it's a very cool looking coaster, and judging by Intamin's new projects, like this could be crazy.
Can anyone tell that Luca's a bit of an Intamin fanboy here? Like, I'm not sure if it's worked out over all the episodes, but any of the guys listening that know Luca, I think is it your favourite coaster company?
I'd say so, yeah.
So he's excited for this. Have you booked a trip yet, or were you looking at it?
I'm looking at it. We've got dates, but we haven't purchased tickets yet.
I'd hold off until you know if it's going to be open.
I think. Well, I mean, the track's complete now, so.
Yeah,
and
the last
I think
week
we're looking
or so,
at going in September.
Oh, you'll be fine.
So yeah.
Be careful when in September. But yeah, no, like, what country is it in? Linnanmaki?
Finland.
Okay, so. Is there much else in the park that's decent? I've never looked at really.
They've got a Zach spin, I know that.
Okay.
I think they've got a Gerstlauer bobsled, but other than that, I have no idea what the park's like. I haven't seen a lot of the park, and there's no one that's covered the park anyway. Like, this is the coaster that's going to put the park on the map for a lot of people.
It'd be worth you doing a little vlog over there then.
Exactly. So like a lot of people won't have heard of this park until this coaster. And Intamin themselves, I know, are promoting this coaster because a lot of people that I know went to European attractions,
the show,
IAPA, that mini European one, in 2018, were like, if you've been on Taron, this is a very similar ride, you should go try it out.
Okay, so
they are promoting that you go and ride this coaster, and I know every company is going to promote their coaster, but a lot of companies kind of leave the majority of it to the park.
Yeah,
whereas they're like, this is going to be crazy, you should go ride it.
Because Intamin they don't really advertise Taron themselves, they leave that to the park.
Yeah, but they still advertise it as like, this is how fast we can go with a magnet.
Yeah. this is what we can do.
Yeah. So
let us know what you want.
Yeah, they kind of leave it up to the parks to do, but they still like to promote it. So if you spoke to someone from Intamin at one of these shows, they'd be like, have you been on Taron? Have you seen our masterclass of work in person?
Which is probably where Busch Gardens got there. Yeah.
Exactly. So they like to, if they know it's going to be a hit, they'll tell you.
Well, Mac do the same. They're like, go to Leesburg, ride Helix, or go here. Like, come to Europa Park, ride Bluefire.
Yeah, whereas you see B&M like, this is a dive coaster, it's very similar to what we've done before.
Yeah, it's like have you, because they're more major parks, it's like, have you been on one? It's going to be very similar. If you like it, go for it.
Yeah.
They've got the company, they've got B&M have got Chinese parts galore buying their products now. They've got
but so do other companies. You've got a lot of Intamin like multi-loopers. I think Intamin released a 12-looper version of their 10-loop, which kind of goes down the drop, goes into 2 dive loops, and then does the same layout.
Oh yeah, it's like the 2 dive loops, then the
vertical loop, and
they said, because of the dive loops, we can add some barrel rolls on the end, so you could keep adding to that.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the Chinese market want more inversions. Intamin will go, here you go, have 2 more.
Yeah, why not?
So it's a company that's constantly looking to change up, and it's a bit like S&S really. They're very different to what they used to be. Something like
with
Steel
the 4Ds and stuff.
Yeah, but I know, but something like Steel Curtain is very different to their old coasters, and even the new air compressed launch coasters like Max Force. It's very different to like Dodonpa and Hypersonic XL at Kings Island,
and also their failure at the Ring Racer.
Exactly. So it's a very different kind of coaster.
Yeah, I suppose when you look at that, developing is the best thing, and I think this is the thing. Busch Gardens, it's that big high speed layout across a large area.
To what they've got.
Whereas Linnanmaki is this compact, more Taran style. It's going to be quick, twisty turns. It's going to be like
So this one is actually a blitz coaster, whereas Busch Gardens one I think is it doesn't have a name, but it's more their kind of launch coaster.
I think they've got so many variants they can't name them anymore. It's just like a
it's still they still classify their blitz coasters as launch / LSM.
Yeah,
but it's a type of coaster. So like your Maverick, your Taran, your Taiga is a blitz, and then your cable launches are just like launch accelerator coasters.
Yeah, I don't
Intamin class them as the same kind, similar to like B&M classing the Hyper and Giga as the same.
Yeah, it's where now Linnanmaki's a park to keep an eye on now.
Yeah.
So when the park gets a big coaster like this, you want to keep an eye on them. So Phantasialand was slowly growing. I mean, Europark's always been on the map, but then Wallaby people just ignored because it was just all Six Flag clone rides.
Yeah, and until they put their own stuff in, like Lost Gravity, Untamed.
Yeah, so now they're working their way through
Belgium with
another
Pulsar.
Intamin.
Yeah, but they have Pulsar and Tiki Waka.
Gerstlauer
bobsled.
Yeah,
which are like parks that used to be chained don't get enough recognition until they do something unique.
And they're custom and they're well fixed.
Yeah.
So they're getting
Tiki Waka looks really cool for a family bobsled.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's just basically Cobra from Portland's Park, but with nice theming and nice themed cars.
Wallaby Road's got the purple Gerstlauer.
Yeah, so the Infinity coaster.
Vertical lift with a non-vertical. It's weird.
It's that looks weird. It kind of reminds me of Rip Ride Rocket.
And it's got a weird theme as well. It's like death and things, isn't it?
I think it's is it called Monster?
Yeah,
something like that.
It's like demons and all of that.
It's weird. It's pink. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a cool colour.
And it's weird because it's like all the Infinities we've seen are like 4 cars or 5 cars long.
Yeah.
So like Kanan, the Smiler are 4 cars, and then Gold Rush is 5 cars. This is 3. So it's not a Eurofighter that has 2 like
an extra row. Yeah,
like 2 rows. But it's not like a normal Infinity coaster, so it's different to everything else, and it looks nice.
I think it'll be running 3-4 cars because you got the you know what I mean.
Yeah, but it's not a long layout.
No,
it's not the Smiler.
No, exactly. Something like that with 5 cars is just crazy. You know what I mean? You're running so many. It's just you're pushing out the throughputs. But again, Smiler, I think could have done with an offload.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so all these little parks, building them up, I think there are lots of parks to look at in Europe at the moment.
Yeah, and something like Linnanmaki, once they get the international recognition, so a lot of people from Europe will go to Finland, to Linnanmaki to ride Taiga.
Yeah.
So once they see, if we spend a lot of money, like I guarantee this is probably their biggest investment they've done in a while, if not ever, and they will probably see the benefits of it once it opens, because your coaster enthusiasts promote a lot as well.
Yeah, the forums, the YouTube.
Yeah. So you've got like your advertising to the people of Finland.
Yeah.
But like your YouTube, like vloggers, your content creators will constantly be telling you to book a flight and come over.
Yeah, most of my views on some of my vlogs are from German. Now it says Germany, so I'm getting more international.
Yeah, I know, but people from England will watch it and be like, "I'm going to fly to Germany." Yeah, you're promoting an international park, and that's something that we do really well. Even the American, like every content creator does really well, and that's something Linnanmaki will really really, really do well off.
It is a park I'm looking forward to, but it's not this year for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Whereas for me, because it's a new Intamin, it's kind of like, yes, please.
I'm sort of more looking at maybe, I don't know, Leesburg again, Fantasyland again, and Efteling, all of that sort of things.
Yeah, I mean, Efteling's closer and easier to get to. Finland's very hard to get to, and the flight times are really not strange.
It happens, you know. It's sort of like if you want to.
It's not a popular destination from England, I don't think.
No, so you need to look into where your flight, which airports, how long. Yeah,
it's not something you can just go on the Ryanair app and book. You have to.
You wish. It'd be too easy.
You have to look in on like Skyscanner or different airlines websites.
It's sort of more like if you're going up north in Sweden for Wildfire, that's harder to get to than if you were going to Gothenburg. It's Whereas Wildfire put that park on the map.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same principle. You build a big coaster, you get put on the map. It's just will Carmarthen build on that?
We'd hope so. You know,
exactly.
But can they match it? Well, people say, well, they got that now. They got so big and
and that's what I mean with Linnanmaki. They've put Taiga in. The next coaster they put in has got the next edition needs to be decent,
or either a different market, or if they're going to match the same thrill market, it needs to be
because the coasters that I've seen there, like a Zaxbin, it's just a clone. Yeah. So this is their first standout attraction. Start building unique attractions and people will come, kind of thing.
Is the Linnanmaki coaster Taiga, is it going to be themed, or is it sort of just?
I have no idea. No, we don't really know a lot. We just know the layout, and even looking at photos, you can't tell the layout. So
I know it's blue track.
Blue track, yeah.
Intamin.
The trains have it looks like a parrot.
Okay.
So it's like a red, yellow, and blue parrot. It looks cool. I don't know why it's called Taiga, unless Taiga translates into something in Finnish.
Yeah, it might be translation, or it might be the theme of the whole thing.
It's not spelled like Tiger. It's spelled Taiga.
There must be a translation.
So it must be, yeah.
But no, again, it's another thing to look forward to, and this episode's had lots of Intamin in it, to be honest.
Intamin and
RMC
and Busch Gardens.
Yeah, we do try to select interesting topics for you guys. We try, because we're releasing every 2 weeks, we're trying to keep it relevant.
Yeah.
But new news comes out all the time.
Yeah. Anyway,
thank you for listening to.
Yeah, we're kind of getting towards the end, so yeah.
Yeah, that's episode 6.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and putting up with us for 6 episodes. In the description below will be our links to our main channels. Our social medias will also be in the description. Our Twitter handles and Instagram, but mine are all the same anyway, @_Luca Jacobi. So
yeah, mine vary. You're looking at Sam Jones here generally across all the platforms.
So if you go in the description, you'll be able to keep up to date, and constantly when we get news, we will share it on Twitter as well as reporting it on here. So
yeah, we don't want it just to be a news channel. We want to talk about our trips as well.
Yeah. So if you want to keep up to date with news, follow us on Twitter. If you want to keep up to date with what we're doing, follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, we're more of Twitter people, aren't we, to be honest?
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep up to date with us. Make sure you hit the lovely bell to notifications,
as well as subscribing.
But at the moment, it's generally, other than the occasional one-off trip report, it'll be 2 weekly on Tuesdays that we do at the moment. So
for the moment, yeah.
Let us know. Do you want us to do them weekly? Do you want us to do more often? Comment. Let us know what topics you want us to cover if we haven't covered.
Tweet at us.
Yeah.
DM us on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll
whatever.
If you want us to speak about a park you like or recommend it, we can talk about that. So just hit us up, let us know. We want to keep you guys interested.
And then thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
See you in the next episode.
See you in a bit.